Macmillan Audio presents The Mitford Scandal by Jessica Fellows. Read for you by Rachel Atkins.
(1928) Chapter 1. Tuesday night at the Guinnesses' dance at the height of the London season began in an entirely predictable manner. No one was to know it would end with a dead body. Louisa Cannon was working as a maid in the kitchens of Grosvenor Place, a temporary state of affairs, as she frequently reminded herself. She knew there was honour in her labour, but, truthfully, she had wanted to leave her career as a servant behind. Still, needs must, and rent had to be paid. After a long winter, the blossom in Hyde Park had come out in full bloom, and soon afterwards, so had the debutantes, ready to twirl their way through the season as decoratively as any well-tended perennials. Their husband hunting was of no interest to Louisa, but the accompanying social whirl created extra work for a few months, which suited her perfectly. On this particular June evening, the hostess, Lady Evelyn, had decorated her house in a medieval style, with posies of summer wild flowers thrust into pewter pots and dotted throughout, instead of the tall stems of roses commonly seen in the dining rooms of Mayfair. Smoke-blackened beams had been nailed to the ceilings, and the rooms were lit with low-watt yellow bulbs in sham-dripping candles, while the fireplaces smouldered and smoked rather than blazed. The resulting glow threw a flattering light on even the most decrepit dowager's décolletage. Louisa had been sent up the stairs and through the green baize door to retrieve a footman whom the housekeeper had spotted mistakenly taking up a tray of devils on horseback too early. They were intended for the breakfast, which would be served at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was now a few minutes to midnight, and Louisa was trying, as unobtrusively as possible, to find the elusive footman. There were several large rooms around the central hall, each of which were crammed with people in the half-light. She was walking through the library when she saw someone that made her freeze. Nancy Mitford. Nancy was standing with her younger sister, Diana. It had been a few years since Louisa had last seen them, and while Nancy was almost unchanged, Diana was not. Her beauty, which as a young girl had been lightly sketched on her face, had developed into an oil painting, with masterful strokes of pale pink and cream. They were talking to a man rather intently, and didn't notice their former nursery maid hiding behind a pillar. Perhaps she should have said hello, but they looked so magnificent and confident. Louisa didn't want them to see her in a maid's uniform. So far as they knew, she had gone to London to live as an independent, successful, and modern woman. She knew her letters to Nancy had done little to betray this vision. "If you were a biscuit," Nancy said to the man, "you would be a ginger nut." "How so?" "You seem wholesome, but every bite snaps, and you have a fiery aftertaste." He smiled and took a sip of his gin cocktail. "I can live with that." "You would be a chocolate eclair. Every mouthful of you is delicious, but terribly messy." "I'm not sure whether to be shocked or delighted." The perfect response. Diana struck a pose, her long neck twisted, her back arched. "What am I, Mr. Mayor?" Louisa watched him regard her before he spoke slowly. "A Florentine. Beautiful, but brittle." Diana straightened out and stepped back. "I'm not at all sure that I—" "Shh, look! There's Bryan Guinness." Nancy jerked her chin in the direction of a slight young man on the other side of the room, talking in an exaggerated fashion to a woman who was holding an ear trumpet. Diana reached out to a passing foot.
"Sample complete. Ready to continue?"